think there's some urgency in health and all policies. What's the shared goals around many things? It's so diverse. So we're talking about education, housing, leisure, all having this massive influence on your health and well-being, how long you live, all of these issues. So I think a shared purpose, unless you can create that, then you're not going to achieve, you know, the better outcomes that we all want to see. Health inequity is growing, and, you know, with current policy and practice, some of the complex systems, unless people can collaborate, create those shared visions and goals on the ground, what we'd like to see in place, it would be very difficult to achieve them. So what's optimistic about this is that actually there's a lot of energy around this at the moment, people recognising the need for it. So boosting the economy, health and all policies, it's the equal base, it's creating a health equity. People who've got multiple conditions, they've got, could be physical, could be depression, anxiety, could be COPD, all sorts of things. If you think about what they can do in terms of employment, then they're out of the job market. And if you have a good local economy, you have lots of healthy, skilled workers. And if you're in an area where you have unhealthy, because of poor housing, for the conditions, or because there aren't any good jobs, you know, it's really important that we embed these lifelong goals, if you like. So a fair start, a good start for childhood, good nutrition, starting healthily, if you like, a good education so you can get what you need to get a decent job, and then having some plentiful jobs in place. But obviously having a good workforce, a healthy workforce, is going to help generate a good economy. So you need both. You need to have a healthy attitude. You have to have it embedded and mainstreamed in all of your thinking and in everything that you do as a local authority or local health system, and you need to talk to people about what they want. And sometimes I think it's worth talking about the kind of jobs they want. The single biggest barrier to health and all policies, I think, is political. Not locally, not the local politics, but actually it's national politics. And I say that from my opening gambit as chair of the plenary session. It's about short-term thinking. So we really want to embed health in all policies. If we really want to have that mainstreaming, you need long-term thinking, long-term planning, long-term investment. In the way that the Future Generations Act in Wales says we need to think about our children's children and make plans in transport, education, healthcare, everything around that. We have to take that into account. Then you can get some of the outcomes that we need to see. If you're in national politics and you're looking at the next term, the next 3 years, the next 4 years, you're never going to be in that position to look at that long-term piece. And we're here talking about prevention. Health in all policies is about preventing poor outcomes, and prevention needs long-term thinking. And in politics, nationally, we have really short-term thinking. My goodness. I have such admiration for the work that local authorities have done in a terrible financial climate, and even the way they're talked about in national government. I mean, the first thing, in my view, that national government do is give more powers and responsibility and authority on spending and money to local authorities. We have a very centralised system where, you know, everything's from that central group. In in fact not even parliamentary, but in the sort of cabinet and a small group of people. Local authorities need to have power over planning, so they can design their own communities for health and well-being. They need to have licensing. They need to be able to consider how they funding, so there need to be more local taxes. There has to be a way that local authority then are able to get funding locally. And the other big thing, I think, is social care. So if we have to fund social care in the same way that we fund the NHS. And of course, politics being what it is, and because of the cost of it, there's a huge aversion to thinking that. So in theory, our new Minister for Health and Social Care has not even highlighted how we might make that happen. And so everybody recognises there needs to be an integration, and it needs to be at national level. We need to make sure that we treat, it's about people, and social care and the NHS are intimately dependent upon one another, and we're really letting a lot of people down, and we will be for the future if we don't sort this out and sort it out soon. So it's been really an enjoyable conference. I think we've had some fantastic speakers. I mean, anywhere that you can get I think Michael Marmot and Martin Reeves on the same panel, all that energy and passion and knowledge and experience, and with Sally from the Local Government Association with all, you know, her background. These are people who are have the knowledge but are deeply experienced. So there were some wonderful nuggets, you know, the collaboration and plumbing and chaos, and some of the words that came out I think were very memorable. And I think the fact that in the second plenary session we had lots of how-tos, lots of information about where to go if you wanted to really look at doing return on investment and how to make things happen, what works in other places, you know. So lots of things that people could take away with them. So the big picture, and then what they could take away with them, how we could do it differently. And I think if people only take one or two things, the collaborating, the engagement with your local community, you only need 2 or 3 things to have made it really worthwhile.